Hello everyone, happy Festivus. Yep, it is that day, Festivus, and I brought the pole. Sorry, it's not aluminum and such. I don't have enough room here, so that's one of my airing of grievances here. So what I'm going to do right now is my airing of grievances. I have a lot to do, so here's the list. The first thing is people really want a utopian society. I mean, they want to have their own views, jam to everyone else's thoughts, and not try to compromise and find a better solution for it. I think we're so worried about people. About our own views. Like why do we care about that? Can you care to compromise, to discuss, negotiate? I think that's what's wrong with now with the bubble, the social media bubble, and such, and the echo chambers we have, and also that leads to my other grievance, and that's the RSNs, which called regional sports networks. Yeah, they're not gonna make any money, and it might ruin sports forever for the other leagues, for the exception with the NFL. But man, this is actually bad for my local team, the Washington Nationals, since Peter Angelos is still alive and still owning Masson and such. So, and we're still waiting for the money, and he hasn't paid for it, and likely he won't anyway, because it's a moot point now these days. And also I would like to air my grievances on Rob Manfred, who has messed up this whole process. And it's fine if you're like a tail commissioner and if you care, but most of the owners in Major League Baseball don't care about the sport, and Rob Manfred obviously doesn't care about the sport, and it is just terrible to watch, and I don't know how they're going to survive. And thankfully there's a lockout, but if Rob Manfred's still going to be there, what's the point about this lockout anyway? They'll probably the players are going to come back earlier. They got to get the deal in February and have the full season started. So I just don't know if there's going to be any progress, long-term progress on this one, and it's going to be a nightmare. And then we have the media. So we're going to do two counts here. So we have the streaming media, because now it's the same rate as paying your cable bill. So pick your poison, I guess. So we have the media telling these stories of Biden's doing a bad job, but in reality, he has done a lot. But they have to create the narrative and stick it to the other people. Are you seeing the privatization of the corporate media? So now, because in the United States, private media is taking over, essentially. They own the broadcast networks, all that stuff, with the exception of like PBS and such. But there's no trusted source anymore because corporations have taken over as shills, essentially. Everything is just a nightmare right now in the media, and I used to want to work in the media, but now, not pretty much. Probably maybe the Washington Post, they have some savior to that one, but it's getting down there as well because, of course, it's owned by Jeff Bezos. So, but I wanted to lead to my main airing of my grievances, and that's 2021 itself. So you can say I had a tumultuous year, to say the least, for 2021. I told this story in a different video, but I want to recap it if you all missed it. I'm not going to do that because I think I was just blabbing all that stuff, but I have a much more clear conscience now in this case. So I told you the story before about January 6th. Yes, this happened actually on January 6th. My boss brought me over and told me I have to reduce my hours, work a little bit less, pay the same rate, $25 an hour. And she had explained to me that last month about that doing better, although they didn't have any getting new clients. Like what she wanted me to do, I was doing the pipelining, and she gave me this spiel about the workers, like she had the recruiters were leaving because of me. And then all of a sudden, when I left, now she's being pretty friendly. I just find it interesting that she told me that and I remember this, I was not a great sourcer. You're a great researcher, but you're not a great sourcer. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, she did offer me a lunch. Bought lunch. Well, she paid lunch and then delivered that to me to my house, and has done happy birthday. But in the long run, I'm still angry at her. I'm still pissed at her that she said that. After 5 years I've been with that organization, you tell me that. If you want to save money, I'm totally fine. I understand because people were in different situations, and it still hurts me to this day. And that leads me to, I'm going to tell later on in the story, but that sequence hurt me a lot. And so it's not that like I've been working at home, like I've been depressed. No, I've been working at home for 7 years, so I'm used to it. It's that you told me that story. There were many different things you could tell me about this. You could tell me the less of hours because we didn't get any business. I can live with that. Or we need to reduce hours because we need to save money. I'm fine with that. Now, telling me about my performance, which I've been doing for 5 years, and then just telling, like, it was my fault that I was losing the recruiters. And I say to myself, you're the one who brought out contact tracers last year. We wasted the whole summer finding contact tracers, and we had no plan. We had no plan. I mean, what is that? Why are you telling me? And then now, with this bad experience I had with this company, now I have to tell you this story, and now it enhances it so much. So I was at the 2018 All-Star Game in DC. So I was going to the convention and such, and then during the middle of the day on Monday, I got a message from my coworker at the time, and mentioned that she can't find any timekeepers. Can you find timekeepers? I said, can you do that? Can you do that for yourself? I'm off. I told you I was off for 2 days. Saying, no, I can't find any timekeepers. You gotta do it for yourself. I said, you do realize I have to do this by midnight. I gotta get. I'll be in my Airbnb on midnight, and then have to work a couple hours until like to 2 or 3 a.m. And she doesn't care. And that, now knowing that really pissed me off. And thank God I got out of this. It was a sort of amicable exit, but I think it just gave me long scars working in staffing firms. And it was a tip. I think now, looking back, it was just 5 years of nothing. 5 years of nothing. After all that, it's just scary to say the least. And then, so afterwards, I did get a job. I did get a better contracting job, essentially, with another staffing firm in San Francisco dealing with startups and such. And I will say this. It was the easiest $30 an hour I ever made. I just source people, just find people just for them, and such. And it was so easy. They eliminated my position and moved my position overseas. And I totally understand that now. I wish they could have done it a little better on my exit. I mean, it was after, like, if they could have done it April 15th, that would be the perfect cutoff date to lay me off, eliminate my position, done that. But they kept me a few days, and then now they cut me off. It felt weird, but I just didn't care about them anymore and such. So I had to find another job, another contracting or another permanent job and such. And so I was trying to find scrambling to it because I now have to find a job long term. And then so I found like two companies I was working at. One, didn't work out. They were looking for retail people in Massachusetts, in the New England area. Didn't do anything. And then the other one is All In Recruiting. They're a boutique staffing firm focused on diversity. And the boss there, Lauren, brought me over because they had a potential client in DC. It didn't work out as such, but she kept me with the team and to help out on the recruiting and such. So Yeah, so I was with her and then one other. So they were a small team, like a small team of three, and we were trying to find diverse candidates for clients. And I was doing well on the one in a client in Boston. However, there was a huge issue because the person previously before me stuffed everything to that client, just forwarded all the resumes and basically pissed off the whole company there. And now they had to Lauren had to redo the recruiting process, so I had to forward the resume to her to make sure that everything's all right, and then do the screening and such. But it was late at that time. Although I was fine with the job, I knew something was missing. The pay at the time was a monthly stipend, so it was around 1,800. So you're looking around 450 bucks a week, and that wasn't suffice for me. So I needed to have a second job for now, because I need to somehow rediscover myself after my experience with the company I worked with for 5 years. So there were two companies that were trying to get me. So one was Order Groove, and then the other one was Limelight Networks. So I did interview with both. I did research on both companies. So Order Groove looked pretty good. Like I know what to do and such, and I like I was sourcing, and I would help them out on that front. And then Limelight Networks, how can I say this? So I knew about their issues, and then they had a new CEO at the time, and I mentioned that to the hiring manager, my hiring manager, actually, the HR manager. Let's call him Michael in this case. So Michael, I asked Michael about the situation at Limelight, and he gave me the truth. I was satisfied with the answer about that. So I was and that was it. So I already had 2 interviews and such, and then Order Group, I went to the final round, and then at the end of June on a Monday, so I had my final round there, and then I received word that I didn't get the job at Order Group. So after that, so this was happening. I was gonna contact Limelight Networks on any updates of the position. And then Michael gave me a call and said, I got a contracting job. I said, wait, I got a contracting job? Oh, why haven't I thought it's a full-time position. No, it's a contract job. So he explained me the situation. So we had to rush to get the contract in. So I can start immediately, like on July 1st. So the contract got there, I signed it, and I became a contractor for Limelight. And if you're wondering, yes, I did held 2 jobs to it. It's a rare occurrence, I would say. I mean, I wouldn't say different, but they deal with different realms to it, so it's totally fine. I don't have any issue with people having 2 jobs or multiple jobs. If you have to make money, I mean, you have to make ends meet and such. So differentiates one of your other jobs. I did have 2 recruiter jobs, but they were different from each other. So there was enough space for that one. Okay, so that being said, so I started in July 1st at my new company, and there were a lot of things I had to deal with. So I was basically in rush mode essentially. So I had to learn about the system very quickly, the contracts, the recruiting style, sourcing, all that stuff. And basically when I got there, the recruiter who was currently there recently left last week for family reasons. So it was up to the HR manager, Michael, and myself. So I was handling the recruiting duties. So I had to do all that. And yes, I had to do 40 recs when I entered. And I had to learn the systems very quickly and get intake meetings with nearly all the people I had to talk to and such. So, and also I had to use third-party staffing because I can't cover 40. And then after 1 month, the recs went to 70. And you would say to yourself, I would be killed for that, and I would be tired and didn't like it. That's the scary thing. I loved it. It was the most fun I had in recruiting in a long time. And with Michael on my side, we had a grand old time on recruiting. It was so much fun to do it. And now we're talking about next month in August. So a lot of things happened. So I just learned like during that month that I was the second choice. The first choice came from the vice president of HR, who wanted the person who worked with her, so they bring her over to help on recruiting, although she has done more on the HR side of things. So she wants to go into recruiting. So basically, I have to train her on the recruiting side of things. So basically, I did that for 3 weeks with that. And I would say she has not learned that much. So speaking of that, so we were looking for another recruiter, more of a technical recruiter. And I was sourcing, and then I found this person, found a woman, Andrea. And I thought she had a great resume, and I think that's what we needed in our team. So I contacted her, make sure, like, she was with her last company for 6 years. So I think it was due time that she might want to change. And we discussed, and I thought it went well. I thought she sounded great. Like she sounded like a great recruiter. And then Michael agreed to that. And then our team, the VP of HR agreed with that. And then our team agreed with that. And I thought she would have been a great fit. And she had a company we had to compete with. And then we had to make the offer. I had to make the offer to her. And yeah, we had to wait till the weekend. And obviously, so she asked great questions and such. And decided to sign with us. So I was so happy about that. Our team was so happy. And yeah, so we actually have a great recruiter coming in and trying to revamp the company, essentially. And so we had the recruiting team and such. So yeah, so we have the recruiting team at the end of August, early September. And basically, I had to train Andrea on a couple things here. And then from like basically a week, I knew she could handle it, so I gave her the reins easily on it. There were some introductions I have to do, but I just gave her the reins. But the other recruiter, she did not learn that much. So basically, so with this transition, I was helping Andrea out on the tech side of things and other positions as well. But mostly, me and Andrea were a team, and I would say we hit it off instantly. We had a great working relationship, and probably me, her, and Michael had I probably had the greatest working relationship since my days at NPR. That's how long it is. I never felt that way in a long time, and I'm glad I met those two, the one who hired me and the one I hired. And we were signing up for basic great things on a company that's well, I'll describe it later. So we were moving ahead, we were doing pretty well, and then mid-September is the key point of the whole thing here. So mid-September, so Limelight Networks bought Layer Zero. Normally Limelight will infuse the culture to like the ones they bought. This is the rare case where the startup infused the other way, and that kind of screwed everything up, as such. So Limelight was fine to bring the Layer Zero team over there, and people were, and I would say this, they were a startup team by the very definition. They had an enthusiastic team, but many different personalities who have no idea what they're doing. So they had a salesperson who just yells a lot. And then they have a guy who's pretty smart, but doesn't know how to do business, doesn't know how to manage. So one of the stories I had with one of this hiring managers I dealt with. So normally you forward the resumes to check on if they're good or not. So I forwarded to the hiring manager, and the person says, "What do I do with it?" I told him, "Just look at it. Are they good or not?" And he says, "What should I say?" You give your opinion to it. And this was going on several cases, and it was a terrible experience. So that was the transition. And then also at that time, I actually had to travel to the Southwest. So you know about the Southwest videos I had to do in Las Vegas and in Scottsdale. That's the reason why. Because I had to work for that. Because my work in Las Vegas had to we're dealing with a venture capitalist, and then it would be a great time to meet the people in Las Vegas and also the people I meet in Scottsdale. So that's why it's weird. I'm very sensitive about what's going on in my surroundings, wear a mask all the time. And my first trip out of the pandemic is going to Las Vegas. I would have thought going to Nationals Park would be one, watching a baseball game, but no, it's Las Vegas, of all places. So that's why I had to book the trips there and such. So beforehand, one of the recruiters was on vacation, so I had to step in to write the contract. And I had to get the information of the person who they wanted to do a contract with. And they gave me the name and such. So and I need to tell them, where's the address? Where are they from? Where and such. So I had the U.S. contract set up. And then they gave me the address, and the guy's from Canada. So I had to redo the damn contract over and over again. And with Michael's help, I had to make sure what's proper in this Canadian contract. And then we finished that off, and we sent it off to the candidate, and the candidate declined. Wonderful. And then they hired this one other salesperson who was stalking everyone, and basically wanted a cheap deal. Like wanted his cell phone to be discounted, his laptop to be discounted, wanted to pay for his Wi-Fi. Oh, it was so crazy, and we had to let him go. And at that time, I decided, oh crap. So actually, on my birthday, Michael told the VP of HR that you gotta extend my contract. His contract ends at the end of September, so extend to this. And the VP was fine with that and gave me an hourly bump raise. I signed the extension, and this was key, that it was a contract extension, and I'm thankful for Michael for doing that. So I got the extension, so I would be working through the end of the year. So I was packing up for my Southwest trip. My first stop was at Las Vegas. Did a little fun beforehand, but yeah, but it was more of a business trip. I had to carry 3 suits for a potential photo shoot and an interview with people. But apparently, I only did 1 photo shoot, 1 suit, and I wasted carrying all that space of these suits I had. So I would say this: the trip I did with Las Vegas at work actually was not that bad. I actually learned a lot, and I got a lot out of it. And I really want to support Lauren and the RN team and such. So it was a good trip, and also I probably had the best vegan dish I ever had over there. The steak roll at Chef Kenny's. It's wonderful. If you have the chance to go there, go there. Yeah, so Las Vegas was somewhat of a success for fun and then for work. And then after Las Vegas, I went to Scottsdale to visit Limelight offices. And I would say it's actually a pretty cool office. The hotel is actually next to the office. And then there's a couple restaurants around there. Not much, but actually pretty good restaurants there. And this is the first time I met Michael and Andrea. And I'm glad I visited over there so I can see them in person and talk to them. And they all said they want to see me work, how I operate and such. So I was cool about that. So it wasn't that much. Although I do like the water vendor, the sparkling water vending machine. I really love that part. Anyway, so I was there, and then there was nothing much. We just hang out, essentially. After work, we hanged out at a bar, had lunch together, and I loved it. And it kind of opened up to me a little bit with them in that they cared about me and I cared about them, and I appreciate that. That even Michael, and this was at the time that they were moving Michael from a full-time employee to a consultant because he wasn't a recruiter. and the whole structure was changing. So basically, everyone's gonna be a recruiter, not necessarily an HR person. So kind of weird in that aspect, but that's why. And I know like from our talks that he was not happy at the place, and I had that feeling as well. Mutiny of some sort. I had to decide. Yeah. Afterwards, when I get home, I need to look at my options. But that trip helped me a lot. Where I need to be, and also helped me discover that I have 2 new friends, and I was happy about that. Yeah, so on recruiting, yeah, I was starting there. I think it was starting to fade a little bit. I think the burnout was there on the staffing side of things, but on the limelight stuff of things, it was gonna get messy and messier, and it wasn't gonna improve. And with this new structure now, everyone's a recruiter, but there's no HR, so there's no safety net essentially. And then the senior HR business partner, the new one from Layer Zero, decided to, you know what, we're gonna use third-party staffing and such. And Andrea didn't like it. I didn't like it. We have a sourcing team. We had a recruiting team. We had somewhat of an HR team, but that's now gone away for whatever reason. And so I had to decide, yeah, it's time to move on. And that was in the beginning of October. So, and this is why I'm thanking Michael right now, because without the contract, I wouldn't have any options. I would have been stuck with the company for a while if I were a full-time employee. But with the contract, all options are there. Everything's on the table. So I was looking at jobs for sourcing, recruiting, all different things. Went to groups. Mentioned that I'm available, and also have another recruiting position available with the company I was working for, because they need more people essentially. But yeah, so I was applying all the different positions, and this one I was a bit more confident. I'll be confident about my job search, because now apparently recruiters are in high demand apparently. And saying, wait, how did it become high demand now these days? Of course, it's the pandemic and such, because people were firing or laying off people, and now they need to hire back more people, and now people have more information with the company, so that you can't find sales. Which I've been saying this for 15 years. Recruiting is not a sales job at all. I've been saying that for a long time, and I'm going on a rant on it in a future episode. But again, recruiting is not a sales job. That drives me nuts about that. And now it comes to fruition. Now they need those types like me to know these people in the market, what's going on. So they need to be smart about that. So that I became a much more attractive option. Although some might, because I was looking for technical sourcing positions, they would consider me a little bit light on that side, but kind of weird. Like they want 1 year, 2 years. Says, nah, you have too much experience. Of course, I only had 1 or 2 years of technical sourcing, but hey, I don't know. Your choice. So I was applying around and asking for friends if they have any openings. Now, there were a couple good companies I interviewed with, but I didn't come to fruition. But I'm glad they followed with me and such. And then, let's fast forward to November, and I had 3 interviews with 3 different companies. So one company does research and surveys. Another one that does with B corporations, basically social enterprise of some sort. And a third one was a media company that focuses on sports. It's a pretty prominent one and such. So the one with the research and surveys, I was amazed that there were 5 guys that interviewed me, but I think it went pretty well on that front. I interviewed pretty well. I probably was the most confident with that in a long time. And so previously, because I didn't have any technical sourcing and such, I just had to wing it essentially, and just because I didn't have any corporate experience. But now I had the corporate experience at Limelight, that transferred over to that interview, and it went pretty well and such. And there were 5 interviews, but it wasn't like 5 long interviews. There were 5 solid interviews. The first two were like the most important, and then the other three were like 15, 30-minute snippets, and it was pretty good. So I felt confident on that one. And then the B Corp company I interviewed with surprised me. I really liked the hiring manager there. Asked me great questions, and wanted me to work there. The only issue was the pay I was asking for was way below what they're asking for, and it didn't work out. And then the media company that dealt with sports, that was surprising because the hiring manager absolutely has no personality. And like, if you watch Emily Zugay on TikTok, like deadpan and such, that's essentially the HR manager there, and basically that's her personality. She is Emily Zugay, real life. She just didn't bring nothing, and the interview went nowhere, and it didn't happen as such. So basically, it was down to one company essentially, and at that time, RN Recruiting, Lauren offered me the job for the executive recruiter position, and I wanted to wait a week for that, how I felt, and I had to look into my imagination how I feel in the next few years working with RN Recruiting. I imagine it would be great and such, but one thing that was in the back of my mind is that would I have joy in this position? I mean, and I'll give a long spiel on joy and happiness on a later episode, but I was imagining stuff if I would have joy in this position, and like 90% of the time I would say yeah, I would have joy, and the last 10% say something's not right, something didn't feel right, like I wasn't really committed to the role, and it was a tough decision. It was not an easy decision, but I had to decline the offer to her, and I told her the truth that the scores of the staffing firms, the one I mentioned about, the one I was with for 5 years, and also I got laid off with another staffing firm, and then two staffing firms actually, and then so I didn't want to do it again, and I gave all possibilities to her. I gave her the grace of, like, she wanted to be there, and I want to say I want to be there as well. I just couldn't commit 100% because of my past, my scores, and those scores carried over to that staffing firm. Somewhat, I felt sorry with Lauren because I know she cares about me. Was helping me a lot. Actually, helped me to be a better recruiter. Because I was more focused on the recruiting side. I did some sourcing, but I was doing more of the talking, front-facing side of things. But I felt sorry for her, and I told her, like, to the end of the year, I will help you out, build a team, and hopefully the company succeeds afterwards, after I leave. Because I do feel sorry for her that I had to decline that, and I felt somewhat guilty. But I knew it was the right decision for me because of my past experiences, and then I needed a new challenge. Yeah, before Thanksgiving holiday, I got an offer with the company, the survey research, and they gave me a lucrative offer that I didn't expect. And not knowing about what's going on in the recruiting side of things, like why recruiting such become a popular position now, I thought I undersold it so much on it. So, but for a social position, I made a lot of money. I'll keep it private. It is, if you want to talk individually, I can tell you that. But I'm making a lot of money for this position. So just to let you know, the company that I accepted with was User Testing. So yeah, User Testing gave me the offer, and I accepted it, and I was happy, and that I have a full-time job, and this will be my first salary exempt position. So I had to leave Limelight in 2 weeks. I didn't feel sorry to leave, but there was one person I felt sorry, and that was Andrea, the one I brought over to help us the team out. But with all these changes, it just became nuts, and this is why I like Andrea so much. She is a great worker, a great recruiter, and we talk every week about any upcoming positions, need any help and such, and just talk about life. And I enjoy my conversations with her, and that's the sad part about that. If I was gonna stay, and Limelight never made the offer, just to let you know, they never made a counter offer or gave me a full time position. So and that was the thing. Like, if I were to stay, if they would give me a lot of money, the only reason to stay is not the company or the job or the money itself. It's Andrea. I really enjoy working with her and helping her on the recruiting side of things, and it just didn't come to fruition because that company's a mess. It really is a mess. I would say this: I wouldn't recommend working there now. But the weird thing is that I had a lot of good experiences dealing with a terrible company. I met a great HR manager who helped guide me through the trials and tribulations with the company, and then I hired someone who's like I respect a lot when she did the recruiting, her recruiting background, but we became much more than that. We became good friends, and then we're soon to be meeting up like each month to check up. I know the two of them are in Arizona. I'm based in DC, so hopefully down the line I'll be traveling there once a year to Phoenix, even if it's a hot weather, to meet these friends. And I would never say that in a long time, and those two made me say it. And I now have to plan something in Phoenix, hopefully a Nationals game. Anyway, so yeah, so that was the one thing I would stay was her. But yeah, she explained to me about the situation, and I decided, I gotta jump ship. And so so now I'm in a much more healthier place that I'm at in a long time. So I'm in a stable job right now, and actually they really need me. So they actually need me immediately, and they enjoy my company, and I enjoy that. I'm very happy I made the move, and they felt me. I'm very welcoming. So yeah, user testing has been helpful on that front. All in recruiting. I'm helping them on the back end stuff, just finishing loose ends, and then I'll be leaving soon on there. But they've been great as well, and I didn't want to leave them. I want to leave them on a better place for them, so they can thrive. And from the looks of it, you're gonna be hearing a lot from RN Recruiting soon. So that was my 2021. So in the beginning of the year, I made $25 an hour. At the end of the year, I'll be making $90,000 a year. That's 2021 for me. It's just weird. And also, I burned some bridges, but also I met some great friends as well. Yeah, and I want to keep those relationships, and I have a stable job right now, and that'll be carrying to 2022, and hopefully I can finally have a break that I really deserve. I do need a break, but now I have to get some work and get the reputation up there. But yeah, I think I'm a much better place than I am than last year. Yeah, and also one of the things I should mention as well, I'm glad I met Andrea and Michael in person. Wish I could have hugged them, hand high fives and such, but we had to do fist bumps because of the pandemic and such. But I'm glad I met them, and yeah, that trip changed a lot for me where my trajectory went. So that's the Airing of Grievances part of Festivus on my end. Tonight I will do a live stream, the Feats of Strength. So behind me you're gonna see a lot of unboxings from a variety of games, and also my Secret Santa on Dragon Claw games, and a bunch of other stuff. And yeah, I hope we all can talk about something. Your Airing of Grievances and your Feats of Strength. So tune in tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the live stream for that, for the Feats of Strength later tonight. So I know it's in the night here, but I'll post it in the morning, and then we'll discuss tape delay stuff. Anyway, I hope you have a great Festivus, and I hope you have a great rest of your holiday season. And I will see you all later. Festivus for the rest of us.